Hello everybody and welcome to Motorcycle Reviews with Konstantin on Street Bike World. So the bike we're going to review today is a KTM 390 Duke. As you can see, it's 2020 model, but essentially 2019 to 2021, nothing really changed. On this review we're going to talk about this bike, whether it's suitable or not for learners. Is it a good pick for learners? Is it a good bike overall, not necessarily for learners? We'll try it on the road, on a twisty road, on the freeway, in the city. We'll try it in different environments, and I'll give you my opinion about this bike and what I like and don't like about it. So let's start with the looks. I think it's bold, it's bright, it's orange vivid colors. I like this black, white, orange scheme going on everywhere. I really like it. You do want to replace the pipe for sure, yes. I love orange rims. I love that there's a bit of a decal on the rims as well. This is pretty cool. So the looks is obviously personal, but I like it. So the components. So what we have here is a punchy single-cylinder engine producing about 43 horsepower, which is great for this bike. It's a really lightweight bike. It's like 149 dry. You've got WP suspension, which is really amazing brand, really good suspension, although it's not adjustable. And you've got Vibre. So Vibre, if you don't know, it's made by Brembo. I think it's very well finished. I think it's really good components that we will actually feel and get to know a bit better when we ride the thing. And I really appreciated the suspension and the brakes and how everything works, the feel that the bike gives you. That's really important, I think. So we've got really nice dash, ready to race. So only KTM is going to give you that for a learner's bike. You've got a gear indicator, you got rev counter, speedo. So we can go into a motorcycle and put it in a supermoto mode. Press and hold. How's it going to be supermoto? Supermoto. This is amazing. For learner's bike, they give you a supermoto mode, which is basically ABS on the front, but no ABS on the rear. So you can do skids and wheelies and all that business. 13.5 or so liters fuel tank with fuel consumption of like under 4 liters. It's amazing. You probably can do 350 kilometers on this bike if you want, out of full tank, maybe even a touch more, 350 plus kilometers. That's a great distance. You can tour on it, you can commute on it, you can, do a track day on it, for sure. I did that and it's actually a lot of fun on this bike, really a lot of fun. You can learn on it, obviously. This is a very friendly bike, very nice and composed, and it's a really nice machine. Let's listen to how it sounds like. So nice touch, you can start the bike without the clutch. Actually, for learners, maybe you could keep the feature where you have to press the clutch in. I would recommend to press the clutch in. Anyway, here's the bike running, shaking a little bit, as all the single cylinders do. That only happens at kind of lower RPM. If you can see that on the video, it vibrates a little bit. It's not pronounced when you ride it, and when you increase the throttle a little bit, it becomes really nice and smooth, so that's not a problem. Alright, so the bike ride lines at around 10.5 RPM or so. And obviously, yeah, the stock exhaust is fairly quiet, but it has kind of nice sound to it. So if you don't really want a loud exhaust, you can get away with this. It's kind of pleasant when you ride, sound is pleasant, but it's quiet. So yeah, if you want to be heard on the road, you'll have to change the cam. Okay, so in terms of performance, this engine is a gem. And I do love the performance of it for the reason being that it doesn't feel like it's done for learners, like it's choked in any way. So it's actually giving you everything it's got, sort of thing. So some other bigger bikes, when it's like 650cc or something, you can tell that they tuned or programmed not to give you everything they have. And when you rev them up, they kind of do it slowly. This is not like that. This feels like this engine, yeah, they squeezed whatever they wanted or could squeeze out of it. And it gives you everything, and it's happy to rev up, and it's really happy up top. If you want to get even more power, I would say there's no need. There's no need, because really in such a small capacity, well, you're going to gain couple of horses, right? With modifying the whole exhaust, with putting power commanders in, filters and everything, well, you're maybe going to get 3 horses. So it's nothing, like 43 horsepower against 46 horsepower. really it's more like down to, can you ride this thing? So learn to ride, invest in good tires, invest in courses on track days and stuff like that, where you're really gonna understand how to push the things to the limit. Because I'm gonna tell you that, like, I'm spoiled brat. I had a lot of big bikes and I didn't think that this thing was gonna excite me, but it did. It was actually very exciting. I took it to the track and I was kind of laughing in my helmet all the time, because like, it just surprises you how much it can do. It's quite amazing. And it's never like running away from you, but it's always pretty much enough power. Until you go to like, obviously speeds of like, I don't know, 120, 130, 140 and so forth, and it's running out of guts. But let's be honest, like anywhere on the road, this thing can keep up with anything. So on the track day, and you can watch one of my videos how it did on the track day if you want, you can see that that bike is pretty much didn't give much ground to anybody. And towards the later session on the day, I figured out that you just need to kind of get away in the front, because you need some space in front of you and then you can push the thing. If somebody jumps in front of you and then they slow through the corner, that kind of compromises everything. Yes, you then have to slow down and then you don't have a lot of ground coming out of the corner. But if you're on your own, you pick a good line, you can push it so much on the brakes, you can push so much speed through the corner. So how is this bike on a twisty road? Is it friendly? Is it encouraging confidence? Yeah, all those things. It is very friendly and it does inspire a lot of confidence, because the chassis is good, the suspension is good, all that just corresponds to a very nice feel. You really feel the bike very well. You feel the front wheel, you feel how much traction you've got. So that is some advanced stuff, you know, like not many motorcycles actually at all do that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, like wringing the neck out of this thing. It never kind of tries to bite you. I guess if you're an experienced rider, it never does. But it's not to be underestimated by any learners. It's quite a bit of power for this weight. I think it took a lot from its bigger brothers as well. Just the pose, the handling, you know, how comfortable it is and how commanding the position is. The bars are very wide, so you really can kind of do anything with it. It's got good rubber, it's got metal Sport Tech, and it's a Sport Tech M5 I believe on this one, but M7 and M9 is gonna be better. So, but plenty for, you know, when you first bought the bike, just use up the M5s and they're really good. Just look at that, it's just like goes. It's so easy to change direction, like wide bars, lightweight, low to the ground, super nice feel. I love it, I just, you know, I'm starting to giggle now. So do I think this bike is good for learners? Absolutely, 100% yes. I think it's amazing for learners. I think it's really good value for money. I mean, in Australia, in Australian dollars, you can pick up the 2020 model for like 7 grand, just under. For this money, there's not a lot of bikes that can compete with it, you know. Some of the less good quality bikes with shitty components, this is like amazing components. It's pleasant to look at and touch, and the brakes and the clutch and everything just works so well. ABS and just supermoto ABS, and ABS is not intrusive at all. Like, you can brake hard on this thing. You benefit not from the most powerful ever brakes, no, you benefit from the feel. So this bike actually gives you amazing feel through the lever, and with a couple of fingers you can really kind of modulate the brakes until quite late into the corner. There is more than enough power. I don't believe anybody needs much more, unless you're on a track and there's a big straight on that track. But the feel, the composure, that confidence that it gives you, you know, through the corner, it's awesome. Look at that, look at that. Some sharper corners. Yeah, no problem, open. This is a weapon. This is not a learner's bike. I don't know how they kind of make it legal for learners. The throttle is very adequate, like it's a ride-by-wire, right? But it's a very refined ride-by-wire. It does exactly what you tell it to do. Yeah, putting this bike on the line is almost telepathic, although it sounds like a cliche probably. But really easy to change direction on this bike. Suspension is not adjustable, but actually very good suspension. I just love the WP. This is crazy. This thing should not be legal for learners. But it is. It is. You know what? I'm just gonna put it out there and say this is the best learner bike in 2021. Lovely. And when you need to just, you know, commute, cruise, tour, it's happy with the freeway speeds, no problem, all day long. There's plenty of power for that. Very comfortable riding position. A lot of leverage through the bar, so you don't really get tired. Spinning this thing is just so much fun. At high RPMs, even like mid-range RPMs, there's no vibration. I would say like there's no vibration at all. No. And when you give it some gas, probably it's very hard to hear. It has kind of nice note. All the single cylinders do, I think. It's like the less cylinders you've got, the more character the engine has. Yeah, there's like brrr. There it is. Yeah, I don't know if you get that. Let's try maybe a bit lower speed and low gear. Yeah. Yeah, like loading the single cylinder engine is a lot of fun. That's where you produce the most like brap power out of it, and this kind of, you know, brap noise that we all love. You gotta be careful, thing likes to wheelie on the first gear. This is crazy. Wow. Brake hard into the corner and gas. And you spin it until the tachometer flashes, because if it's not flashing, you're not spinning it enough. Willy. You know what, it's hard to do a clean start on this bike because it starts to wheelie. I believe the short wheelbase is responsible for that. The wheelbase on this bike is really short. So yeah, every time you really try to push it on the start, it comes up a little bit. And that same short base is probably what helps it to turn on a dime, you know? And I'm not talking about U-turns, I'm talking about agility in corners. It turns super well. The tires do warm up and you start to feel more and more grip. Some rubbish on the ground? No problem. Easy to change your course a little bit, easy to like adjust. Beautiful. Yes, 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 yes. We're getting a bit tighter here and go.
Alright then, so what about the track portion? So I do have a separate video which I mentioned is going to be linked in the description below to have a look at the track, like in 40 minutes of track performance. You can watch different sessions, beginning, cold tires, cold rider, and towards the end where I understand the bike a bit more and pushed a bit more. But essentially this is a little bit of a sneak peek into what happened on the track, and the feedback is great. The feedback is I love the bike. So like I discussed with you before, that I had a lot of bikes on the track. I'm quite spoiled for having really some of the latest and greatest toys on the track. I didn't expect this bike to really surprise me so much, but it did. It did surprise me a lot. In many ways this bike is responsible for my later purchase of Husqvarna, because that much I love the suspension, the WP, that I started to look into it a bit more. Slightly longer travel gives you a bit of a better feel. I really loved it, yeah. So this bike as well, really good suspension and a lot of feel through the brakes. So it's not the most powerful brakes, but there's a lot of feel, and I think it's one of the bikes that, in comparison to some bigger sport bikes, encouraged me to brake much later than I usually do. Obviously the speed is maybe not that fast, but still you take your brakes quite further and sometimes even whiz you into the corner. Oh, that guy didn't quite make it. So you take them into the corner with more confidence. So it teaches you right techniques in a way, so you actually can start practicing trail braking with this bike. On most of the big sport bikes, and it's probably a little bit scary to try those kind of things initially, because the bike is a handful as it is. So this one is not a handful, this is light, easy, flicking from one to side is so easy, changing direction so easy, putting it on the line so easy, so it's kind of fun day, you know, that's what the bike is good, or what's good about it. So it was a not intimidating day on the track, but actually a lot of fun. A lot of fun pushing it and exploring its limits. Towards the later session, actually you see even this session that I'm showing you now, not a lot of bikes could overtake me in level 2 out of 4. And that's, you know, that's the bike again. Basically, if you get away from the pack initially and you have open track in front of you, it's very difficult to catch this bike. But if there is riders jumping in front of you, maybe on a straight line, more power, and overtake you on a straight, they're probably going to go slower through the corners. That's usually a common problem for most small bikes, and they're going to compromise your speed through the corner, and then compromise your exit speed, and then eventually, yeah, obviously compromising your lap time and your speed on the straight. But yeah, can you do it? Absolutely. Is it good on the track? Absolutely. Is it, like, you know, too much for some learners? Well, it's probably just about right. Not, I wouldn't ever call it too much, but yeah, you have to respect it. The thing goes fast, and it kind of is good to learn good techniques on it. Yeah, loved it. So last thing is basically we talk about the road, and I don't want to talk about the road even too much, because this bike obviously like a king on the road. On the road, low fuel efficiency, low heat on the engine, sorry, high fuel efficiency, low fuel consumption. Great amount of power for the city, nimble, maneuverable, comfortable, like, you know, it's a great commuter. It hasn't got a lot of wind protection, I'll give you that, and maybe if there's like a raining or anything like that, so you have to have the right gear to protect you this way. It hasn't got a windshield or anything, obviously on a long distance touring as well, but I never kind of felt that it has like some kind of harsh blast on the wind, so it's kind of comfy all around anyway. So yeah, great commuter, actually very good on the track, and just a lot of fun overall, So this is my take on this bike. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe for more videos, and see you on the next one. Cheers, thank you.